Eastern Conference first round. We'll also have the Dallas Stars and Vegas Golden Knights going head-to-head here in Game 4. Welcome in, guys, to Puck Time, powered by WagerTalk TV. We are here to break down these two games, give you guys some prop sides, totals, information, and take your questions live on Facebook, Shorts, Instagram Reels, wherever you are watching. Of course, I'm Andrew, and I have Carmine with me. Carm, happy Monday, man.
Thank you, sir. It's a brand new week, elimination week. I think we got a few teams that are down in their series, and they could be done. I was hoping for a bunch of 6 or 7 game series. Not going to happen. The Washington Capitals, they came in and they came back out. It reminds me of that Grandpa Simpson one where he walks in, puts his hat on the door, picks it up, and walks right back out again. That was the Washington Capitals in this year's playoffs. Yeah, they're done and dusted. Speaking of done and dusted, Tampa Bay, Florida, Andrew, tonight. Huge price on Florida here, minus 190. But it's pretty much, if you looked at the game one numbers, the game one and game two numbers, Florida's was in and around the same prices. They're about 170, 180 in both games. So 190, I get it. They're back home. They're off a poor effort. Give Tampa credit. In that game, they pretty much scored every single way you could score. They got power play goals, shorthanded goals, 4-on-4 goals, and a 5-on-5 goal. They stayed alive. They played extremely well. And I thought that as poor as Florida played, and I'm basing that on their 3 prior games where they looked extremely good, and then most, if not all, of the NHL season for them. This was probably one of their poor games, and they still made a game of it in the second period. They pulled within 4-3, and I honestly think had they tied that game up, they would have gone on to eventually win it. But Tampa was a little resilient, and John Cooper said to his team, even before the game, if you don't think we can come back from a 3-0 deficit, you don't belong in this dressing room. You can just leave now. And they showed up, but I think it's a one and done kind of thing for them. They showed up, they won a game. They're not going to get swept by their interstate rivals, but I think they're done in 5 tonight. This is a tough one because even like the regulation line, you look at these, it's tough to play. I don't think this is a game that's going to go to overtime. I think Florida wins. They win it in 60 minutes. I've got an interesting one for you guys in this one. To channel a little bit of my inner Andy Lang, I'm going to give you guys a same game parlay that I actually really like. I like Florida to win this game, first and foremost. $1.90, I can't play that price, but you can if you want. It's how you manage your bankroll, and mine's is not playing minus 190 type plays. But you can take a same game parlay in that and add Sam Reinhart over 2.5 shots, which in itself is high vig at 175, minus 175. You put those two together and you're getting plus 134. Now, what's Reinhart done in this series? 4 games, every single game he's gone over his shot prop of 2.5 shots on goal. And in 3 games during the regular season against Tampa Bay, he's gone over in 2 of 3. So 6 to 7 games he's gone over the number. He's a guy you can't really contain, and Tampa hasn't done a very good job of it in this series as well. So Florida wins, Sam Reinhart over 2.5 shots on goal, and you're getting plus 134. So I'm playing that. And if you do, good luck to both of us. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one?
I like it, man. We're always keeping everybody guessing here on Puck Time, and little same game parlay action. And that's the thing, is that in the playoffs, we are still seeing some high prices. That's what we're going to see. We're still going to see it for some teams, whether it be some players. And I'll tell you, I actually had some stuff lined up as well in the similar category. A free play on Saturday for me, Carm, was Steven Stamkos to record a point up at WagerTalk. Didn't make the client card, but it was a free play written up. It was minus 175. And, it's one of those prices that, I don't really get that high with them. Well, Stammer had, I think, 2 goals and an assist in that game. So you think about that high price, but did it pay off? Now he has a point in 9 of his last 10 games. You think about a team, when you think about the captain, you think about the power play, you think about how often he's out there, how many chances he'll be out there. And all of a sudden, the minus 175 currently turns into a much bigger price. I actually found a bet here. Verhaeghe plus Stamkos to both record just 1 point comes out to plus 140. I thought that was a really good one here. Despite the 2 strong goaltenders, despite Bobrovsky, despite Vasilevsky playing so well, I still think these guys get on the board because the playoffs have been so top heavy, especially for these 2 teams. But Carm, I'm going to hold my breath, man, and take the under in this game. I know what you said there, and it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. The fact that Florida was their worst game of the first round so far, and they still managed to look pretty good. That says something about them. If it's their worst game of the round and they still come back and make it a fight, right? Make it a fight, make it close. They went down early. And, I think Tampa, the effort they got in the first period in game 4 is probably the effort they would have liked to have gotten in game 3 back at home. But nonetheless, they came out storming. But I do think that goaltending and defense will certainly be a huge part of the game in this one. Despite the elimination game factor, I don't like taking unders in elimination games too much these days, but I do lean towards the under 6.5. I also want to mention that Victor Hedman, you can get his shots on goal prop at 2.5 plus 130 to the over. He's gone over that in 8 of his last 10 games. Right now, this Tampa Bay team is having trouble creating offense with just their forwards. They need help from their defensemen. So it's certainly a good call, I believe, to look at Victor Hedman, defenseman, to jump in there. And again, as we always talk about with this Tampa Bay Lightning team, living and dying with the power play in some instances. Well, Victor Hedman's certainly out there, Carm. And as I always say, when you're betting a prop, it's always nice when you can get plus money. You're getting plus 130 for a guy that's hit this 80% of the time over the last 10 games. I'll take Hedman to get his shots tonight.
Yeah, Andrew, it's interesting because, I've heard like different opinions on this Tampa Bay team. And I was just talking to someone or replying to someone in chat about, I thought coming into this series, Tampa would at least make it an interesting series. I thought it was a series that was going to go 6 or 7 games, go at least 6 or 7 games, and it's nowhere close to it unless for some reason a different Tampa Bay team shows up tonight, wins it, and then sends it back home and can somehow win on home ice. But that's, ifs and buts, Andrew. The what ifs, you can do what ifs on pretty much every series in the playoffs, except for the Rangers one thus far. I just don't see it happening. But it'll be the second year in a row that Tampa's been eliminated. Should they get eliminated tonight, second year in a row that they go out in the first round of the NHL playoffs. And you hear speculation that does Tampa makes a bunch of changes in the offseason because of that? And no, because they still have a solid core of players. They've just run into, let's forget about last year. This year, they've run into a Florida team who's a very good Florida team. This is a team that made it to the Stanley Cup last year, the Stanley Cup finals, had a very good season this year, won the President's Trophy 2 years back. So, we can't discount them or say they haven't been a good team. The one guy who has shown up for Tampa Bay is Stamkos. As you said, Andrew, 4 games, the guy's got 5 goals. He's got 6 points. He's scored in every single game. He's been there. Those power play props continue to cash those plus money props, Andrew. We've talked about a Braden Point, Stamkos. They're always at like plus 200. The Hedman ones or the Kucherov one are lower, but the Braden Point, Stamkos ones, when you're getting over a half to record a point on the power play, a point or more, and you're getting plus 210, plus 250 on either one of them, it's just so hard to pass up. And Florida was one of the higher teams this season in taking penalties. I think only the Anaheim Ducks took more penalty minutes this year, and that was by 2. So Florida does go to the box often. We'll see what happens tonight, Andrew. Any thoughts on playing those power play props tonight?
No, I like it quite a bit. I like it quite a bit. Of course, it'll be key for these teams to stay out of the box in such a big game, but they've been so successful on the power play, and it's been a lot of the same guys. That's the thing. It's been a lot of the same guys here, Carm, with Varhage, with Reinhart, with Stamkos, with Point. Those are the guys you want to circle. And before we get to the next game, that's what I was going to ask you about, was because, there's times in the past, and I might, do this a little bit more moving forward because I had success with it over the weekend, where I was simply parlaying two guys to get a point over 0.5. Some players are 1.5, like the Makars, McKinnons of the world, McDavids, but a lot of the guys, even a Stamkos type player, is half, right? And this is what you find, the general, I think, like perception of that is that you're not getting enough value, people will say, right? You're not getting the good plus price. If you want a good plus price for tonight, take Brandon Hagel to score a goal. He's plus 290. He's got a goal in 3 of his last 5 games, 3 of the last 4 games here of this series. But for actual money-making purposes in these top players, Carm, like, don't you notice the top players are the players that are making noise? For the LA Kings last night, they lose 1-0. It wasn't going to be a bottom 6 player that stepped up for them. It was going to be a top player. For the Colorado Avalanche, Makar scores, McKinnon goes over 1.5 points. Nichushkin keeps getting it done. So I ask you, when we've got these slates, whether it's 2 games or 4 games, how do you feel about the idea of finding 1 or 2 players that are at the minus 170 to 180 mark to get a point and pairing them with somebody else to get a point?
Yeah, I don't mind it. If there's someone who's consistently doing it, then you take it. And we're not just talking about the 4 games or 5 games that teams might have played in the playoffs thus far, but even follow it back to how a player finished during the regular season, because there's quite a few of them that went on very good runs, the last 10 to 15 games of the season, and that just carries over into the playoffs. It's a confidence thing. We see teams and we see players who are lacking confidence, and I know it's going to sound like I'm beating down on them once again, but listen, I bet the Toronto Maple Leafs to win the series against the Bruins. It's one that I firmly regret right now, because there are a bunch of underperforming players on that team, Andrew. So I'd rather stick with players who are playing well. And you look at like the Stamkos one, you look at the Braden Point one. But just to get back to just to give a couple prices, because while you're discussing that there, I did look up power play points for tonight. The Braden Point one has come down. He was at always about plus 210, plus 220. He's at now plus 185 to register at least a point on the power play. The Stamkos one, he was at plus 240, plus 250. He's down to plus 210 now to register a point, and this is because both are doing well. Both are getting points. Again, in order to cash these ones, the prices are where they are because you need power play goals. These aren't just score in 5-on-5 situations. You need a power play, and then you need to click. But these are the number one guys, and it's a power play that's clicking. So, and not to go off on a tangent, Andrew, but how about the power play of the Edmonton Oilers? They are 8 for 15 in the playoffs. One power play yesterday, I believe, 1 power play goal. And that was the only goal in the Edmonton Oilers win last night. I never thought I would be celebrating an Edmonton Oilers 1-0 away win, but Stuart Skinner, we talk about standing on your head. He did it yesterday.
I saw your tweet, Carm. I liked it. You were excited, and man, I did not think that would happen for them, a win like that. That's for sure. But that power play, it kind of brings us full circle with this conversation. I mean, the power play that they have, the success rate they were hitting at, is so great for player props, and that's what you want. I mean, when you're betting player props to the over, at least you want a game like that. If you're betting player props to the under, I mean, imagine how much you could have made, Carm, betting players under on the Washington Capitals. I mean, hindsight's 2020. We can't live in the past, and it's too bad we can't. But with the scoring that they did, Ovechkin had a combined, like, I think, what was it, 4 or 5 shots the whole series? Imagine taking his shot total was 3.5 in every single game. Right. I mean, so whether it's the Oilers with all kinds of power plays or whether it's teams like the Capitals, just recognizing those trends. And I'll tell you one thing I've tried to improve on here with the playoffs is if I find a play and I like it, I'm sticking with it. Our Arturi Lehkonen from the Avalanche over 2.5 shots on goal was plus 135, was minus 120, was minus 135. It hit every time. Sometimes you got to find a play you like and keep riding with it. And Carm, I think the next game we're going to talk about, well, we've got some props we can keep playing as well. But I just want to shout out everybody here in the live chat. And no, Carm, you're good for always chatting with everybody here in the YouTube chat. But thanks to everybody for being here with us.
Yeah, guys, because we got like one more game to discuss. If you have a question, drop it into the chat. If you're watching on YouTube Shorts or Instagram, drop it in there as well too. We'll try and get to them and answer them as well. The Lehkonen one is one that I took yesterday for clients, Andrew, and that one hit. And Panarin, dear God, thank God the bread was not stale. Artemi Panarin showed up yesterday, gets a goal, gets 4 shots on goal as well too, and cashes one for us. So I was pretty happy about because he had gone 2 straight games, and then through the first period he had no shots on goal. I'm like, what is wrong with Panarin? But he picked it up, so I was pretty happy about that. You talk about Andrew. Listen, the Washington Capitals played well down the stretch to get into the playoffs, so we can't look past that. But in the grander scheme of things, I think a different team making it in, like the Pittsburgh Penguins, would have given the New York Rangers probably a little more trouble. But the way the Rangers are playing, they rolled over Washington. They played absolutely phenomenal hockey. They didn't even play for the gentleman's sweep and give them game 4 and then win at home. They swept them. We'll see if Carolina takes care of the Islanders in game 5. And the one unfortunate thing I have to say, Andrew, is it is a shame that in the next round, the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers have to play each other. Like, these are 2 teams that you could make a case that they should be playing in the conference finals, not in the semifinals. But it is the NHL. It is the way the standings work, and until they change it, we're going to be left with watching the same teams play the same teams in the opening round, and 2 teams that don't deserve to play each other in the semifinals play each other in the semifinals, unfortunately. So we'll see what comes of it.
I think I've noticed that too, Carm. Like the past few years, the second round has almost been the better round than the conference finals. Isn't it the case that if Vegas beats Dallas, they'll play Colorado? Is that true? I think that's what it is, right? Or no?
No. If Vegas. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. If I believe if Vegas beats Dallas, they play Colorado. The Edmonton who finished second, and Kings finished third. So the winner of the Edmonton series plays the winner of the Vancouver series. So it stands to reason that if the Vegas Golden Knights win, they will play Colorado. So if Colorado beats Winnipeg, well, series aren't over yet. 3-1 deficits are very tough to come back from, Andrew. And I know, listen, I know you're holding a Winnipeg ticket. And after game 1, and especially the way Georgiev had played, I would have said, you're probably going to cash that ticket, but or at least make it into the next round and get closer to cashing that ticket. But man, he has responded with 3 very good games, and Colorado's making it look easy against Hellebuck. They are scoring at will against him, and he didn't even come out for the third period. They put Broussard in goal in the third period of this last game. So we'll see what comes of it. I can't see them not going to Connor in game 5 at home. He's been their goalie all season long. There's no
Yeah.
way, unless there's something physically wrong with him, that you could go away from him playing in goal in Game 5.
Agreed. I'm with you. You got to go with the guy that got you there. Hopefully he can steal them a game, because so far that's not really been the case. Let's keep things moving, guys. But while you're here, do us a favor, hit the like button on this video, show us some love, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is a good, we got a question coming in here live from Shorts, Carmen. It has to do with the Dallas Stars. So that works well. It's a good little transition to the Dallas Stars and Vegas Golden Knights. Game 4, Stars -125, take back +105, total at 6, shaded towards the under in this one. Taking a look at Game 3, Dallas outshoots the Vegas Golden Knights 46-34. Face-off dot, very even. No goals on the power play, minimal penalty minutes, 47-23 in hits for the Vegas Golden Knights. Block shots about even. Giveaways in favor of Vegas. To me, this was about as much of a battle as you're going to see. Although there are more shots on goal for the Dallas Stars, Carm, it was an unbelievable battle that Saturday night. It was nice watching. I had unfortunately had to watch that Leafs and Bruins game with a bunch of Leaf fans. So after that game was over, it was nice to just watch a good hockey game. And that Dallas game going to overtime was great. And Dallas hanging on to try and get their first win of the season. So now we got a question coming in here from Alex on Shorts. He's asking us, is it worth betting Stars to win the cup at 15-1? Got to think if they win the game tonight, they go back to being -125 favorites in the series. Carmen, you are Mr. Futures. What are your thoughts on that? 15-1 right now as they're down 2-1 in the series. I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't mind being put on the spot. Listen, as far as futures go, that's a very good price. Before I get to it, I want to discuss, because you discussed Game 3, how Game 3 was a 3-2 OT game. I will not understand when you look at the analytics. And yeah, the shots on goal, you can look at it, 46-34. It was a game that did go to OT. It is the other numbers. You look at the expected goals in that game in all situations, and it was 5.41 to 1.42, almost a 4-goal separation in favor of the Dallas Stars. And even more interesting, Andrew, in this is we look at scoring chances for. They almost doubled them, 54-26 in scoring chances for. High danger chances, which has been pretty much even in the first the first 2 games that were played in Dallas. 13-9 and 13 all in the first 2 games. 27-4, the high danger chances in that game in all situations. It's such a slanted analytics thing for a game that finished 3-2 in OT for Dallas. Had they lost that game, they pretty much they were done. They wouldn't have won. You can't play as well as they played and then lose a game in OT to go down 3-0 in a series and come back. But now this is why they're favorites. They're a slight favorite here. They're -115, -105 in Vegas against the defending champions. And if they play another game like they played in Game 3, they're going to win this one and even up the series. So that 15-1. If they win this game, that 15-1 is going to come down to about at least 10-1. It could even go a little shorter at 8-1 and 9-1. It could be cut in half. The one thing that could keep it up a little bit is the fact that the winner of this series has to play Colorado, and Colorado has just steamrolled the Winnipeg Jets in 3 straight games. And they're up next. So you have to play another tough team after this one. But at 15-1, it is worth, if you believe Dallas is going to win tonight, then you got to take the 15-1 because it won't be available at the end of the game if Dallas wins. Obviously, if Dallas were to lose tonight, that future isn't worth much. Down 3-1, it'll probably be 25-1. But you'd rather be on the move that works in your favor than works against you. If I said that correctly, Andrew. And this will be 8 to 10 to 1 after this game if Dallas wins.
I'm with you. I think that it's worth looking at, and there's going to be some movement. The way they played, it goes to show that, like, we talk about home ice advantage getting the last change, but this was a Dallas team that wasn't really, how do we put it? Like, they weren't really getting outclassed, I would say, through the first 2 games of the series, Carm. They weren't getting outworked. They just were losing the games. I mean, one mistake would lead to a 2-on-1. Jack Eichel would score. One mistake would lead to a power play, things like that. Dallas is right there in this series. So great question there from Alex. I think it's fair to say that Carmine and I would agree that if you're interested in futures for Dallas, you have not gotten in yet, you can get that 15-1, which is funny because that's what it was like 2 or 3 months before the playoffs started. So if you missed that boat and you want to get back on the boat, well, they're only down 1 game in this series. They play tonight. They do have a chance to tie things up. We also have a question coming in from UC Panda, which we will get to after we discuss the Vegas Golden Knights and Dallas Stars game. But Carm, when I look at this game overall here, and we look at the Dallas Stars, look at the scores here, I just think that overall, I do believe that this series is going to start seeing some goals. I do. I mean, we've obviously seen a jam-packed, action-packed game. We've also seen a low-scoring battle like the one we just saw on Saturday night. But you talk about the chances, the goal scoring opportunities. We talk about the shot count. We talk about the depth that both teams contain. And I know Ottinger had himself a great game. Logan Thompson is playing well for the Vegas Golden Knights. And these teams do have solid defense. But when I look across the rosters for both these clubs, you can list so many names. I mean, when I'm talking about player props here, and I'm looking at this game, I want myself more on player points than on player goals. Because you look at Rupe Hintz, you look at Thomas Hertl, you look at Tyler Seguin, Jack Eichel. There is a handful of guys that can make an impact and make a play. Whereas you look at some other teams in the postseason right now, it's very easy to predict who's going to make a play. I'll use the LA Kings, for example. I used to say this team has depth, but they've got depth as far as stopping teams defensively. If they score, it's going to be Kopitar, it's going to be Kempe, it's going to be Byfield, it's going to be Fiala. But the Dallas Stars right now with Wyatt Johnston, with Sagan, with Pavelski, with Hintz, with Robertson, the list goes on, Carm. And I truly believe after that hectic overtime game late Saturday night, I think we see some goals tonight. I think this is an offensive explosion. And you know what? I'm starting to believe that it actually benefits Dallas if we get some goals here. Even though Vegas has so much talent as well, I think when Dallas throws the kitchen sink at them, they're the better team. I'm curious to see the mindset and the tactics from the coaching staffs tonight and the pace they play at. But I lean towards the over, Carm. What do you have for us?
Yeah, Andrew, you look at the total, and if I stand correct, I think the total opened at 6. It's currently sitting at like 5.5. Over 20, the 6 under 20. It's pretty much as far as value wise, they're the same as far as like price goes when you factor in what the half a goal might be worth. I don't think the 6 was ever going to last very long in this one. I think people based on what game 2 was. But you looking with the way that game was played in a 3-2 game, and given like the analytics that I had mentioned, and I get it, it's not just analytics, it's the eye test as well too. Numerous chances. I think you look at Logan Thompson played extremely well, very well. He kept his team in the game. You look at Ottinger and how he played. I just don't see another 2-1, 3-2 type game here. So I would look at the over as well too, especially because it's at 5.5 and not 6. We always talk about how they can get the 6 so easily. You're stuck with a push as opposed to a win. So I'm going to agree with you on the over as far as the game goes. And as such, I'm going to look at someone who didn't get a point last game, but got points in the first couple of games. And then you can look back at how he finished the regular season. And he was a big part of this team's scoring. And I'm talking about the Dallas Stars here, is Jamie Benn. you can take him to get register at least 1 point tonight, and you have to lay 115 on that. It was 120 in the last game for Jamie Benn, but 115 here, I would take that. Jamie Benn to record at least a point tonight. He's a big part of this team, and he's led them during the last 20 games of the regular season, if not most of the season. But his point clip has been very good. And the big gun, you always say that if the team's going to win, the big guns have to come out and do it. And we'll see if Ben can come out and register at least a point to go along with that over bet.
The Dallas Stars are a great team for that, Carm, because you got their guys that are the heavy hitters that are high price for their points, or the over 1.5 guys. But then you've got guys like Ben that, like, as you stated there, you're going to get a pretty reasonable price on it. And in games like this, that you and I both expect goals to happen, I see no reason why he can't get on the stat sheet, at least for an assist or hopefully for a goal as well. We've got UC Panda chiming in here in the live chat. Appreciate him being here with us as always. Asking, do you think there will be any rust and a negative impact for the New York Rangers with this many days off? Carmel, I'll start here. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem. I think that sometimes you can kind of create these narratives, and I've been guilty of it as well. You do want to stay in game shape. You do want to be ready for fast pace. I think the better question is this: do you think it's better? It's going to hurt them that they had no competition in the first round. That's what I think. Forget about the rest. I mean, that, Carm, obviously I'm biased. I'm a huge Crosby fan. I wanted the Penguins in the playoffs. You don't want to hear me rant about this, but I didn't like watching the Washington Capitals in the playoffs. I don't like watching some of these teams that just aren't putting up a fight. So do I think that they're going to be rusty? No. Do I think they might not be used to playoff hockey yet? Maybe. That's my answer. I don't think it's the rust. I think it's more so about the matchup they had. What do you think, Carm?
Yeah, it's a good question from UC, and listen, if nothing else, it allows the New York Rangers a few days of rest. If there are any aches and pains that they got in this 4-game sweep of the Capitals, it allows them to heal. They're still going to go through their morning skates. They're still going to. I don't think we're not talking 5-6 days. We're talking possibly 3 or 4 days, and the All-Star break was one of those ones where they're off for a while. We can't really. There's really no data as far as like last year goes, because last year there was no sweeps until the Eastern Conference Finals, where the Florida Panthers swept the Carolina Hurricanes. Vegas was in, I think, a 5-game. I think it was a 5-game series for Vegas in the Western Conference, and Vegas won the first game 5-2 against Florida in that one. So you can look at it, but by then these guys have played quite a while. I think there was only 2 or 3 days in between games before the Stanley Cup game 1 got played. I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. Again, these are professional athletes. If we're talking like a week or more, it's one thing, but I don't think it's a big problem. And I think the fact that the Carolina Hurricanes could very well close off their series, I think the game is tomorrow night against the New York Islanders. That one is pretty much set, and I'm not sure if on the NHL site whether there even is a second round data when these will start, but I can't see them going that far. We could see the second round, Andrew, start on the weekend. So, maybe it's Friday, Saturday. So we'll see. Not enough data as far as like last year goes. Only one sweep, and that team lost in the first. They were going to lose anyways. An injured team against a very good Knights team. Knights deserve to win the cup, and they did. So I will say that.
Carm, correct me if I'm wrong, but could every single Eastern Conference first round end in 5 or fewer games? Is that what we're projecting? I mean, that's crazy. If that's where we're headed right now, it could possibly be the biggest letdown of a first round in a lot of years, because obviously we're going to talk about it tomorrow. The Bruins Leafs series was supposed to be 6 or 7 games. The Lightning and Panthers series was supposed to be a huge one and big viewers and ratings for the American audience. And that one's been a letdown as well. So I'll tell you what, if you work for the NHL or you work for TNT or ESPN or Sportsnet here in Canada, you're praying that you get some more games, because forget about sports for a second. Business perspective, these TV companies are not going to be happy with these games ending so early. That's for sure. So I'm shocked by it, but hey, obviously we've got so many teams down 3-1. Someone's going to have to win and extend the series. That's for sure. Carm, we'll get your closing thoughts in just 1 second. I want to remind people at home, today is the final day to buy a 3-day package, 3-day all sports. We're going to throw in 1 day for free. You get 4 days for the price of 3. So if you don't usually buy the 7 days, the 30 days, but you want a deal on a 3-day package, start your week off, get some NBA, get some MLB, get some NHL plays. Great time to do so today. From Carmine, from myself, buy a 3-day package. We're going to toss on 1 more day for you. And you can also get a huge package year to year right now. 1 year special, playoffs to preseason. That's under $5 per day. So if you're interested in the long-term investment aspect, you can get the current playoffs right now all the way until next year's preseason in the NBA and NHL for less than $5 a day. Carm, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, we're going to discuss this tomorrow. I'm sure we have a bunch of games tomorrow, but yeah, the Eastern ones could very well end. You've got Carolina plays, if Florida wins tonight, and then Carolina and Boston take care of business at home, East is done. Every single series is over in 5 games, 4 or 5 games, and they can get going. Maybe that's a better thing. I was out on Saturday, Andrew. For as you know, it was tomorrow's my anniversary, wedding anniversary. But we went to a restaurant downtown Toronto yesterday. Possibly not the best place to be, downtown Toronto, when they're playing the Boston Bruins. But with that said, I PVR'd the games so I could watch them even after, regardless of whether I knew the score or not. Because I want to, the eye test part of it. And I've never seen a team of whiners like I saw Matthews, Marner, and Nylander on the bench, pretty much each other. Marner tossing his gloves like a 5-year-old kid, throwing a hissy fit. I don't know where this team is going to find anything to bring to tomorrow's game that can extend this series past 5 games. I'm always hard on them, but listen, guys, I did pick them to win the series, so I can't be that hard on them. Or you can't think I'm that hard on them, considering I took them. That one is a dud. That play is a dud, Andrew. So with that said, guys, listen, we have 4 really good games tomorrow. Let's get some winners tonight's card. Drop a comment in the comment section below. When this video is posted, let us know what your best bet is tonight, whether you like anyone in a goal scoring prop, a shot prop. We always love the engagement from all of you guys. Our chat is absolutely fantastic. And hit that like and subscribe button. We're at over 150,000 subscribers on this channel. So very proud of what our WagerTalk has done to build this channel, and for all of you guys for continuing to tune in.